What really is spiritual awakening? That's a genuine question I'm asking you. What do you think of it to be? What do you mean by awakening, if you have any definition? Is a definition even fit for is pointing to? Like, do the words do it justice? The answer is no. What do we actually mean by awakening, What is awakening? How did you hear about it? Who did you hear about it from? What other ideas were potentially mixed in with the niche of who you originally heard it from, maybe? What I mean is you can get inspired by spiritual awakening by a person. So a person is the kind of the gatekeeper for spiritual awakening for you, so to speak. But that person could potentially have other ideas tied up with it. Where I heard Leo Guru say that this is how the devil operates, is by sleight of hand. And it was how you can mix in falsehood with truth. And that's kind of how I guess you see how I can see the devil these days. Not, I rarely have ever used that term, the devil or whatever, but I don't think I've listened to Leo Guru's video, who's actualized.org, by the way. I don't think I've heard his video on the devil yet, but he refers to it a lot. And it's an interesting definition. The devil, I guess, I don't know what to define the devil as exactly, but yeah, it's you can hear about, it's like you can sprinkle in falsehood with truth, and then you can end up pushing a narrative, but using the truth as leverage for validation. What am I saying? Why am I saying this? Overall, why I'm saying this is because what actually is spiritual awakening, yeah. And why am I saying that is because recently I've had some different perspectives, so to speak, on it. What are we actually talking about when we mean spiritual awakening? Like, if you've seen my podcast with Mr. Nature, for example, then you'll know what I'm on about here. The conscious rapper community, a lot of them are very spiritual rappers and music artists. They're valid in their own way, it depends. Personal development can be seen as spiritual in a way, spiritual development. But then there's meditation, because I'll tell you why a lot of this I think is coming to the surface now, and why I'm saying a lot of this is because I've been listening to quite a bit of Ram Dass. Ramdas. Ram Dass. With 2 S's, I think. And it's almost like, he often says you live on multiple different planes at the same time. I've been listening to him for years, really. But every now and then I go through cycles. I've gone back to revisit Ram Dass, and it seems like there's quite a bit more depth there than I originally thought. And that happened with Alan Watts as well a while ago. Like, I thought he wasn't that deep, and then you keep listening and you're like, holy shit, you're actually onto something. And it's about, basically, if I just get my words out, I don't know, inherently, it's about kind of, how does it feel? What am I on about? Is that, there's a different dimension to awakening that is, there's many different levels to awakening. And I'm talking, the 0 point, which is, the present moment. I'm talking about how you almost have, a hidden identity behind the scenes if you just increase your awareness. It's yeah, because I'll tell you how this happened, actually. I was in the bath a minute ago, and I was thinking loads of thoughts, deep thoughts. And I'm just sucked into all these thoughts. And it feels like an energy extraction matrix, to be honest, if you know that term. Anyway, I just woke up because I realised I was drowning in these thoughts, like, quite heavily. Like, come up for air, so to speak. And it's like your awareness, like, yeah, it's like you can, like, learn to sit on top of all of the sense perception. That's how it feels. So you're no longer, like, I think that's what they mean by in it but not of it. You're not, like, drowning and, like, attached to all of the images on the screen. Whether or not how useful this is for personal development, I don't know. But as Ram Dass said, I think he said, like, do you want to play games, or do you want to become free? So, like, it's valid to take, like, it's valid to take right action and good action and righteous action in the world and do good. I think this could be the definition for Dharma. D-H Arma, I think. Dharma. Dharma. Is right living. Just holistic right living is still valid. But, like, there's it's like this awakening where, like, you stop, like, chasing your own tail as God, kind of, like, where you see that, like, yeah, it's like it's almost like you relinquish the world. Not really, but, like, yeah, you stop trying to, like, save the world, kind of. Not really, it's just that you see that actually, like, the light is in charge and the ego isn't, kind of, where, like, you can... Because originally when I was saying you can get inspired by spirituality, and then basically what I was talking about is Mr. Traumatic. He's a music artist who inspired me with spirituality, but he also came along with a lot of conspiratorial ideas, which are valid on the relative plane, at least. So I could have got inspired by awakening, but it could have came with also a lot of unpolished ideas where, like, I'm not saying it's not valid, and the relative plane is valid, of course, because I'm still, like, tied into it. So social action is still very valid, and exposing truth and things of this nature. But yeah, it's like, can't I just, like, instead of, like, chasing the external world, kind of, like, you just kind of, like, stop doing that, and you like, find... I heard another talk by Ram Dass saying, like, when all you're looking for is God is all you find. And that's true. Like, all that is ever about is the 0 point, like the present moment, like the bottom of sense perception, so to speak. So if all you seek is that, because you're always with God, and there's nothing you can do about that, God being the moment, because the non-existence does not exist. So, like, basically, if you can wake up in the moment, you can always find God, 100%. And if you can't see God, it's because you haven't opened your eyes. So if God is always there, and that is the self, essentially, Brahman is the true self, because the ego is temporary, the body's temporary, but your true identity is what is always there. It's like what you can't burn, essentially. It's like everything in life, the only thing that will not cease is consciousness itself. Everything else is finite, so everything else is going to fall away. But consciousness will fly through all of the form, so to speak, and be basically the only thing left. Kind of. Our true self is nothingness. So, basically, everything that hurts you is hurting everything that is not you, because you are not form. You are invincible, so you can't get hurt. So everything that is getting damaged and like, that's your attachments, essentially. So another thing that Ram Dass says is suffering, it depends what plane of consciousness you're living. If you're living with this eternal identity, which is consciousness, which is the true God self, if you're living via that identity, first of all, you basically become everyone else who is awake. You join the club. Because you've all discovered that you're the same fucking person. Because consciousness is like, it's like, it is its own thing, and everyone is that. So if multiple people wake up, assuming that they are awake themselves, even though there's no distinction between self and other, it's all consciousness, right? So regardless of if they actually are awake or not, it don't matter. There's only really one of us here, kind of. And if you do a lot of meditation and deep awakening work via your direct consciousness, it's not a belief. You don't have to research. You just like actually wake the fuck up now. And a lot of things fall into place when I realise this, like a lot of things that I've heard by Alan Watts in the past. I think something he said is something to do with awakening is like it blows itself out. Like it's almost like, you know how life is hard and you have to keep trying and it's like, oh, me against the world. It can be like that. Where you're like depression or mental health or desire, where you're perpetually like dissatisfied. It's almost like so like your effort and you're trying to cling, eventually it like actually kills you inside because you're trying to control something that can't be controlled. And when that happens, it's like you finally give up automatically because you're trying to control everything, but you can't, because again, Ram Dass tends to bring up statistics of how many like starving children there are in the world, and even the conspiracies that Traumatic talks about. Is hopeless, kind of. And you're in this ego and you're born and you try to control your environment. You know, you discover that everything your parents fed you, like the food when you was younger, is poisonous, so you try to get better at your health, but your bad habits get the best of you, and you try the personal development stuff and you just can't seem to discipline yourself. And that, I mean, that's also a valid road, but it's only temporary, innit? Because everything is going to die in the end, like. And even the personal development people who seem to have it all, they are actually thick in the brain. They know how to like live, which is obviously good, but also they're some of the most unenlightened people. And there is a contrast with the personal development and the spirituality, kind of. Not really, because it becomes easier once you let go of the heaviness. It's about, like, getting free. That's literally how it feels. It's like, even if I was doing the discipline and the personal development, like, basically what I just realised, where Ram Dass calls getting free, it's like, you know, you're always chasing, you're always clinging to so much in this life. And to get free is to, like, let the consciousness just flood outwards into spacious awareness. in the present moment and recognize God is always there. And when you do that, you're responsive, not reactive, as Ram Dass would say. And from here, it's like the whole world was just waiting for you to be ready the whole time. And it takes to slow down and to be spacious and mindful and just consciously aware. And it's not like all of this is coming from Ram Dass, but I mean, he did help. He has helped, because since then I've been feeling. But the thing is as well, right, to get on my survival situation on the relative plane, is I've been struggling a lot recently. But I wouldn't be struggling if I had the self-love and the spaciousness to take action. But I've like hibernated all winter, and I've really got myself into the deepest financial crisis I've ever been in, where I've had to sacrifice my food so much where I really can no longer sustain to eat whatever I please. I must eat lower quality food because of poverty. And I'd like to be healthy, and that's one of my deepest fears. And Leo Gura says a common theme is that the greatest secrets, so to speak, are often locked behind your deepest fears. So maybe that's partly because I've been doing a lot of deep soul work recently, but I'm really not happy with my survival situation. Basically, that's relevant because my health is not good because I don't have the money. I don't have money. I don't like my job. I don't have any money. I've got bad habits. I'm depressed half of the time. My sleep is crazy all over the place. I'm hanging around with the wrong people. I've been depressed for as long as I can remember, for the most part, since I was like 15 years old. See my album Toxic by Oxsn if you want to hear my kind of paradigm of the things I would tell myself back in the day. And again, if you see it from afar, you see how everything's just the story you tell yourself, kind of. But yeah, I mean, like, that's the kind of the flaw with spirituality, is because it can make you neglect your survival plane. But also not really, because maybe you're doing spirituality wrong, and that's why you're neglecting the survival plane. Maybe it's not the spirituality inherently, maybe it's your naive notion of what spirituality is. Maybe there will just be more and more plot twists, you know? Like there's already been. Did you ask to incarnate? Do you remember that? Everything you went through as a child, did you have control over that? How long have you been alive? I'm 20 years old. Personal development is all good. But what's the paradigm that you're kind of sold by basically everyone nearly? Is that the external world is out of control and you are living by conditional happiness, trying to control everything? Is this a flawed philosophy, a flawed paradigm? is personal development actually the trap? No, I don't think it is. That's stupid. I get it. Because, right, if I wasn't a Jeffrey, so to speak, then I wouldn't be so... I couldn't say that. So... What the fuck am I going on about? I'm just saying, basically... Yeah, what is awakening? Look. Your awareness is like creating everything. That's literally it. It's like your level of consciousness, basically. And, it's up to you. Play the human game, do the personal development. Obviously, the external world doesn't exist yet. What I mean by the external world is out of control is that if you take a materialist paradigm, you know, everyone's always threatening World War III on the news and stuff, right? So if World War III could happen, and if that is valid in your paradigm, that World War III could just occur randomly, and theoretically you and your land could get bombed, then, like, why the fuck, like, if that's your paradigm and you're trying so desperately to control everything, like, but then you could just get bombed, like, why, you're trying to control an uncontrollable force. You're literally trying to control infinity with your finitude. You just have to merge with infinity, your true identity, and then you can just let go, because you're immortal and you are infinity, and you know, you literally can't die, so you're just pretending, God's just pretending that it can leave the center. You're just distracting yourself with any game going, and often it's negative, right? Because the negative can be to God's distraction, because negative means like it's serious. We seriously better do something about this serious negative situation, or like negativity. The reason why it can often be negative, the metaphysical self-deception, is because negative implies that there is a better future than now. Aha! That's it. If something's negative, yeah. If you've got a negative hang-up, so to speak, or neurosis, like me, I keep eating poor quality food, like I said, maybe because of my financial situation. So I eat the bad quality food, and then I feel bad because I've eaten the bad food. So I've got a hang-up where I'm, you know, it delays the golden goodie, where you're gonna get it later, because now's not good enough, because you've got this negative hang-up, which is that you're eating the bad food or something, so that later you'll be happy when you finally get the health, when you get everything you want and stuff. But yeah, so your negative hang-ups, it delays the gratification, so to speak, so you can have fun pretending that everything isn't perfect. So then you can have a mission of you can do all sorts of missions, do all sorts of games, play cops and robbers. But also, the pain is valid and the suffering is valid, and that's what creates the illusion, is because, yeah, you better go make money and stuff, because otherwise you'll run out of food. But that's just the game, isn't it? That's how God chases his own tail. Is problem solution. It has to trick itself. Because it's eternally awake, so what else it's gonna do? It's just gonna pretend that there's things you better ought to do, you know? Like, this is a picture of me and my siblings when I was a kid, right? How old am I there? Fuck knows. 3 years old. I got no idea. And you're busy trying to control everything as if there isn't some kind of bigger story. That's an intuition that I have, is that just when I look back through my childhood and that, I'm like, we're obviously of the spirit. It's obviously divine. Whereas it's bigger than your current hang-up. Personal development is still very important to me. I still want to do it and that. I don't seem to do it. I seem to be a fucking lazy cunt. Or kind of, but I also feel like a victim to the external world as well. It's complicated, man. There's a lot of different planes. But I don't need to, like... It's up to me, basically, yeah. Like, you realise you are consciousness, basically. So, like, you own yourself. God is God. God is itself. So who else is going to decide what to do but God? You are always going to be looking at, listening to, feeling and being one with God. The 0 point, sense perception. You will always be one with the Tao, with the flow of energy. You will always be in this flowing river of energy. Don't you understand that? That's an intuition. That's one thing that all of them say. It don't matter if they've got other half-baked ideas mixed in with their shit. What everyone tells you across the board is that it's infinite consciousness and it's love. It's love when you wake the fuck up in the moment and kill time and realise that everything was already here the whole time. Because at the end of the day, fuck everything I've said, get this, right? Either a higher power is on your side, right? You as consciousness listening to this right now. Either God's got your back, the Almighty has got your back. Either there's a bigger plan, that spiritual intuition you have within you, that you're from spirit and that maybe it's more than just a material paradigm. Either, get this right, this is what I'm saying. So either it's more than the material paradigm and the Almighty is on your side, or it's the material paradigm, right? Something of that. You kind of got these two options. Either you're sound because you are protected by the Most High, or you're not. And this is truly some materialism, gruesome realm, right? Get this. If this is materialism and the Most High is not on my side, so to speak, then everything can just get fucked, because like I haven't got anything to worry about, because it's just fucked from the get-go. You see? It's already, if the Most High isn't on the side of prosperity in life, or whatever, in the biggest picture perspective, if the Most High isn't protecting the souls, then it's already fucked from the get-go, right? So, therefore, everything can get fucked. If the Most High is in service to the rest of it, then I'm sound. So, it's basically don't know. Just trust where you come from, bruv. That's it. I don't know. I might have lost it a bit towards the end there. But I might sit outside anyway and get some sunlight in me. But yeah. Yeah, it just takes to really wake up. It's you just gotta recognize the eternal self and flip the script. Anyway, I'm gonna go. I can't see anything. Alright. I love you all. Thanks for tuning in. I've got shit I need to do, man. Love.